instead of saying, well, that's just what my character would do. Instead, bank engineer, think to yourself, okay, if what my character is about to do will really only be justified by that's what my character would do, even though it's bad for group cohesion, maybe I need to take a bigger step back and I need to reformulate how my character is going to make this decision so that I'm prioritizing party cohesion and I'm leaving out the stuff that could get in the way. A lot of times the players put this on the game master to give them a reason for party cohesion, but friends, this is putting a lot of work on the game master that the players should be doing themselves. So for you as a player, if you can actually find a way to make party cohesion a part of your job and to build this into your character and to audit it as it goes, you're going to be an amazing player who's going to get massive respect from your game master, and you're going to help the game be better for everyone else. Hello friends, welcome back to GM Philosophy. I am the GM Philosopher. I have been running TTRPGs for over 24 years. I am a pro full-time game master and a TTRPG content creator. And today we're talking about 7 more ways to be the kind of D&D player every GM wants. Now, I did a video, and I'm going to put a link up to this video in the box. I did a video basically about the 7 things every D&D player should do to be a better D&D player. But today I want to follow up on that because there are 7 more things that didn't make it into that video that really needed to be in it. So today this is the sequel. So if you want to see the first one, you can watch that. But this one will also stand alone. Okay, so you can totally watch this and it's going to make sense. And if you're a game master, which the purpose of this channel is to empower game masters to run better games, then this is a video you might be able to send to your players and be like, hey, check this out, guys. Look what this guy made. And maybe it will help them to engage with your games on the level that you would love and would help to make the experience better for you. Because make no mistake, game masters, they do not shoulder all of the burden of making the game awesome. It takes great players to make great games too, but if players don't know how to do that, well, then the game master may find themselves flying solo, trying to make it all happen under their own power. And that's no way to go about it. It's not cool, hence why I'm making this video. Now, in that last video, I talked about things like, speaking up, making your character goals clear, staying with the party, creating your own fun, knowing your character sheet, taking faster turns, and actually paying attention to the game. Those are huge because they can help players enjoy the game more while also taking a massive load off of the game master. But after thinking through this, especially because I've been planning to turn this topic into a book. I'm actually writing this book as we speak. And I have realized that there are some additional, obviously, things that I want to put in there that I didn't include in the first video. And those are the things we're going to discuss in this. So number 1, learn how to share the spotlight. Okay. Now, in my last video, I talked about how players need to speak up and claim space at the table. But the other side of that is learning how to share the spotlight. Great players do not just fight for their own character moments. They also notice when another character should probably have the camera for a while. One of the best things you can do as a player is to say something like, I want to ask the NPC something, but first, what does your character think? And then they address another character, right? Not the game master. They literally ask this from another character. Imagine how amazing our games would be if players prompted each other to share the spotlight, right? Or another thing a player might say is, this seems like it connects to your backstory, or there's some relevance there. Do you want to take the lead here? Do you want to make this history check? Do you want to make that religion check, right? That kind of thing makes you an amazing player because you're not just taking a spotlight. You are helping the whole table to distribute it equally, right? So this is an amazing thing. So that's number 1. Great players learn how to share the spotlight. Now let's go on to step 2 here. Great players give other characters something to react to. A lot of players think roleplay means expressing their own character, but great roleplay also means giving other characters something interesting to respond to. So for example, your character might ask another character what they think, right? You might bring up something they said 3 sessions ago. Challenge them in character in a way that invites a response instead of shutting them down or instead of making it all about your character, right? You could compliment them, question them, confess something to them, ask them about their homeland, confide in them, ask them about their God, the scars they have, the tattoos they have, what their fears are, what their goals are with this group. Great players do not just perform their own character. They create little doorways for other characters to step through and invite the players into the spotlight with them and into the story with them, giving them something to react to. Imagine if, players at the table were all prompting each other like this. The GM usually is the one who has to take responsibility for this. But what if other players were doing it? This would make the table experience so different. Step 3, another thing, the third thing that great characters will do, great players will do, they'll buy into the premise of the campaign, okay? If your game master says, this is a grimdark survival campaign, then build a character who makes sense in the grimdark survival campaign, right? If the campaign is about saving a kingdom, make a character who has some reason to care about that kingdom, okay? Make a character who has a reason to care about the people, the party, the stakes, right? This does not mean you cannot be creative, funny, strange, or surprising. It just means your creativity should support the game everyone agreed to play instead of fighting against it. Great players make characters who belong in the campaign. So the GM does not have to drag them kicking and screaming into the story. Now, again, a lot of times this is put on the game master as a responsibility. People expect the game master to find unique and creative ways to jump through hoops to connect all these characters to the story. But what if you had a table full of great characters, great players who wove their own webs proactively into the world through their backstory. And as new things come up, they think, oh, GM, I'm going to put this in my backstory, blah, 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 right? And then you're making your own connections in the world. This is actually good for everyone. This facilitates deeper role play. But way too often, players look to the GM to do all this. And if they kind of start getting bored or they don't like it, then they maybe want to quit. Then it's like, I blame the GM because they didn't include my character. Friend, you can include your character. This is a hallmark of a great player. So this is absolutely something to take into account. The fourth thing that great players will do at the D&D table, treat party cohesion as part of their job. Players should not put the entire burden of party unity on the game master. You need to ask yourself, what does my character think about this group? Why do they stay with this group? What do they respect about them? What shared goals will keep us moving together? And then sometimes you may need to invent goals or build your character's arc in a way that supports what is going on. This is especially important if you're playing a morally complicated, selfish, edgy, or even evil character. That's what my character would do. A lot of times, maybe you are saying that to be realistic, but the truth is you might be hurting the story, hurting the narrative, and hurting the table experience when you role play like that. Instead of saying, well, that's just what my character would do. Instead, bank engineer, think to yourself, okay, if what my character is about to do will really only be justified by that's what my character would do, even though it's bad for group cohesion, maybe I need to take a bigger step back and I need to reformulate how my character is going to make this decision so that I'm prioritizing party cohesion and I'm leaving out the stuff that could get in the way. A lot of times the players put this on the game master to give them a reason for party cohesion. But friends, this is putting a lot of work on the game master that the players should be doing themselves. So for you as a player, if you can actually find a way to make party cohesion a part of your job and to build this into your character and to audit it as it goes, you're going to be an amazing player who's going to get massive respect from your game master, and you're going to help the game be better for everyone else. This is a very, very good way to think. Now, for the game masters who are watching this, thinking about forwarding it to your players, first of all, yes, forward it to your players. They're going to need to know this stuff. Secondly, though, we cannot underscore the importance of emotional resonance and emotional buy-in in games. Now, as you're going to hear, especially on some of these other points, it's not all up to the game master to establish all of these things. The players have responsibilities too. However, the greatest responsibility for creating emotional buy-in with the players and for getting them emotionally interested in the game lies on the shoulders of the game master. And I've actually written a book called The Advanced Art of TTRPG Game Mastery. This book was compiled from the experiences I learned running games for 24 years, how to create emotionally resonant campaigns that my players loved coming back to again and again. Look, if you want to actually get your players emotionally invested in your game, I give all of my deep tips, philosophies, insights, tactics into how I've done this. My whole thesis on this is in this book. It's 50 pages for about the price of a cup of coffee. You can grab that. Link's in the description. And you just might learn some things in this book that are going to reshape the way you think about sitting at the table and running a session. And it's definitely going to be for the better. So if you want to really crank up that emotional resonance, make sure to grab a copy of this. Like I said, links in the description. And then, of course, make sure you forward this video to your players because they're going to need to learn these things. All right, let's get back to the video. Number 5, the fifth thing that great players will do at the table: learn the difference between character conflict and player conflict. Character conflict can be awesome, but only when everyone understands that it is happening in character and not turning it into above table resentment. If your character is angry at another character, say something simple above table, like, just to be clear, I'm just having fun and this is only my character being upset. I'm not actually upset at you. And then roll for initiative or whatever it is, right? That one sentence can save the whole table a lot of anxiety. Great players know how to create drama without creating real hostility. They can roleplay tension while still protecting trust between the actual people at the table. The temptation for a lot of players when they start to have friction with other players is they may basically go to the GM and expect the GM to smooth it out. But friends, the truth is, if you had a whole table of players who were good at smoothing out and navigating their own social bonds with the other players, leaving the GM to do the thing that the GM does, which is to, basically control the world, react, build story around the characters, give them things to interact with, NPCs, etc., villains, right? If the players could actually smooth this out themselves, this would free up so much bandwidth and it would result in a much healthier group dynamic. And let me tell you something. This is how it should be. Players should be navigating character conflict and player conflict in a way that it is all squashed. By the time the GM even realizes there's an issue, this is the best case scenario. And honestly, guys, this is a responsibility of the players. And all too often, players neglect this because they think it's all the GM's job when it is not. And this leads us to point number 6. The sixth thing that great players will do at the table: give useful feedback to the GM. A lot of players either say nothing, complain vaguely, or only give feedback when something goes wrong, right? But great players learn how to give feedback to the GM that they can actually use. It's actionable, that is good and bad, after every single session. Instead of saying combat was boring, you might instead say, I think I enjoy combats more when there's an objective besides, destroying the enemy. Instead of only pointing out what you disliked, also tell your game master what worked. Say, I loved that NPC. I loved that chase scene because it gave us interesting choices. But I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the puzzle. I thought it was boring, blah, 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 whatever. This helps the game master understand what to keep doing, what to adjust, what kind of game actually excites you. And if you have a whole table of players who are actively giving this kind of feedback after every game. Look, first of all, let me tell you something. This is virtually unheard of. I have maybe one player per game. I run 5 pro games right now. I have maybe one player per game who kind of, does this after every session, but it is so rare. But let me tell you what a massive difference it would make if all my players gave this kind of feedback. I would know so much faster what kinds of things my group likes, and this would make the game so much better. But friends, your game master, they can try to drag this information out of you. They can try to prompt it. They can ask you what you think. But here's the simple truth. If you do not actually speak and take the words out of your brain and push them out into the air toward your game master, he is never going to know. And then he's never going to have that data to help improve the game. So a whole group of great players are going to be giving this kind of useful feedback to their GM. So do not neglect it, guys. And this is going to take us to our final point. Point number 7. The 7th thing that great role players will do at the table: they will respect the tone and emotional stakes of the scene. Okay. Humor is great. Jokes are part of the fun. But great players also learn how to read the room and read the scene that the game master is trying to put in front of them. Okay. If another player is having a serious character moment, let that moment have some real gravity to it. Don't interrupt it with a weird joke or, throwing something off kilter. And don't even start with well, that's what my character would do. Don't. No. Bad player. Don't. Stop it. Stop ruining scenes. If the GM is describing something tragic, terrifying, or emotionally important, don't undercut it with a joke or some kind of out of place humor or some kind of weird shenanigans, right? Don't be trying to pickpocket the cleric when he's having a tense moment speaking to the demon, right? There's nothing wrong with being funny, and there are scenes for that. But if you constantly puncture the scene with your tone that is off, you're going to make it harder for the story to matter. And that's going to hurt the whole table. It's also going to hurt the GM's attempt to try to create tone and theme. right? Now, a lot of players, again, they put this on the GM. They think that, well, if the GM doesn't make me feel emotional, then I'm just not going to be emotional. That's the GM's job. No, no, friend, you're mistaken. The GM's job is to do their best to build a functional session that includes all the fundamental pillars and to try to manage spotlight time and to give you great things to bounce off of, to react to, right? To do things to learn about. But the truth is, the game master has a very, very limited amount of media with which to inspire a scene. They're trying to describe the scene and to set the tone with their words and the way that they're introducing it. But they need the players' help to make it work. If the players don't make it work, it's just not going to work. So great players will really pick up on what kind of like an energy and tone and theme the GM is trying to create here. And then they will fall into that role with their character, role playing their character in accordance with the kind of mood and tone that scene would be setting. And this is just what great players do. So boom, being a great player is not about being passive, obedient, or just sitting there waiting for the game master to entertain you. It is about becoming an active, creative partner at the table. Great players make bold choices, support the other characters, communicate clearly, pay attention to the emotional tone of the game, and help the game master build something everyone wants to come back to. So those are 7 more ways to become the kind of D&D player that every game master wants. Drop a comment and let me know what you would add to this list, if anything. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure you join our free Discord, the GM Philosophy Discord. Empowering game masters run better games is the goal. In there, we're over 600 GMs strong at this point, growing every single day. Links in the description. Once again, I'm the GM Philosopher. Empowering game masters run better games is the goal here on the channel. Roll some D100s for me at your next game, friends, and I will see you on the next one.